Hello, what is up?
What is up? Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, this feels a little bit weird to do, but it's it's an experience. I think we're kind of following the trope of males making podcasts.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I told a couple of friends about it, and they're like, "Oh no."
Yeah, I don't tell anybody about anything I do, so
I
I
end up telling at least a couple of people some way.
that's fair. I mean, I think that's probably healthier. But yeah, I don't know what we intend on doing with this. I think it's just sort of an excuse to talk about stuff, to
Pretty
some
much. Yeah.
extent, at least. But yeah, that's what's happening, I suppose. Uh, yeah. Have you have you kept up with Apple news? Have you seen the new headset and stuff?
Yeah, yeah. It was um as other Apple products are pretty overpriced, I would say, but like, yeah, I like the vision. No pun intended. I like the vision they have with it.
I feel like the question of whether it's overpriced or not depends on how it turns out to be when it actually releases.
That
Because
that's true.
so far it seems better than whatever crap Meta has released or said, whatever.
Yeah, that's true. But like, I was just comparing based on like app, like in terms of like the technology available in the market right now, and like finding like something in semblance of a competitor. Like you have I think one of the main VR headsets selling for about $500, where basically it can do like some of the, I guess, augmented reality thing with the world around you like specifically for games. But I can see where Apple has made the innovation to kind of go further and kind of make it like a whole entire computer and augmented reality, which probably gives them some points to up the price.
Yeah, I feel like the intention was to kind of create an exclusive product to sort of start the development ecosystem, because so far there has, I mean, beyond certain like Beat Saber and stuff, there's not really been something that makes an app or a workflow that makes AR super compelling. And I think what Apple wants to do here is have a super expensive headset to start the development process, and then as time goes on, create a more mass market product.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like the reveal of their headset essentially just kicked off a competition among major brands to create their own AR headsets. So it's already
Yeah,
kind of set into motion a lot of the creative, the think tanks of brands.
yeah, and like they've definitely put in a lot of money in terms of hardware. Like they've, what do you call it? The displays, the build, it's like kind of overkill. I don't know if the displays can be overkill, but they're definitely extra.
Yeah, the whole thing of the reverse OLED
Yeah,
displays,
that's
like
crazy. That is
that's
crazy.
I feel like yeah, it definitely kind of creeped me out a little bit. That was like interesting.
Yeah, the I don't know. It's definitely in that uncanny valley uh, for
Yeah.
for for AI stuff. But what's funny is Apple has not didn't use the word virtual reality at all on stage, which is,
Yeah,
I feel like maybe they don't want to associate with Facebook.
probably. But then again, like their whole immersion system essentially is a VR room.
It
So
is. It's just
yeah,
Apple's marketing, I suppose.
yeah, pretty much. No, but honestly, like it's a it's a positive kind of step in terms of, you know, making augmented reality more accessible. I mean, I wouldn't say accessible, but mainstream.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? I mean, I think even when they released it, Microsoft said that they would bring PowerPoint and stuff to Vision OS or whatever they call it, and even Photoshop and all is coming. So, I mean, thing is, Apple has that industry clout, so to speak, to be able to do all that without uh, I mean, they're not really. I guess they're not banking on selling tons of the units. Sell tons of units. Yeah, just building up an ecosystem, and I guess yeah, bringing it into the mainstream. That's what this probably will do.
Essentially, like, I mean, the whole point is that Apple is kind of expanding their own kind of ecosystem. Like, like,
Yeah,
who knows, like, what all they'll add. They already have what is it?
the
They have basically the Mac, iPhone. They have like the whole kind of base set.
yeah. But the question is, what problems does VR solve? I mean, at
Um,
$3,500, it has to be compelling in some way. It's not. There's nothing really that makes VR. Uh,
yeah,
it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't really add much apart from immersiveness to some extent. It's very nascent stages, but such questions I suppose need to be asked to figure out what is actually going to happen. I mean, like
yeah,
Facebook's vision. I mean,
yeah.
they're trying to get that whole connection thing, but so far they've really not done anything to further it. What does Apple want from VR? I mean,
I
that's a
think
big question. That's a big question going on right now, right? Like after the internet and Google, what is the next big technological advancement to society as a whole?
I feel like the whole AR advancement. I like it might be like a long shot, a long reach, but I feel like one of the main reasons why Apple probably has made like this AR advancement is because of like the what is it? I guess the appeal of like having one of those systems like Jarvis in your own home, like because like it kind of
Hmm.
that the whole superhero idea, and then the fact that you can have like you can just look somewhere floating and like your personal butler will kind of just synthesize an image in midair and you can just look around with it. That whole kind of thing appealed, I guess, to the public. And now that you have like this headset, which essentially just relies on your eyes and hands for movement,
Yeah.
that that probably kind of is as of now the closest you can get to that sort of hologram kind of
Yeah.
advancement.
But the problem is, it's still a very one person affair. Like if you live alone, I see the appeal. Like you can basically replace your TV and your laptop and your phone to some extent, or maybe your iPad. You can basically you can do everything that these things can do together. You can replace a sound system, is what they're saying. But if you live with other people, it gets a lot more confusing. I guess in that sense, the hologram thing might make more sense, but we're still far away from that.
Oh yeah, that's. I mean, this is basically the first kind of the stepping stone
Yeah,
to actually getting like. I feel like they have the technology is still pretty. It's pretty advanced. I'm not like the whole kind of like that R1 chip, what it can do in terms of like real time,
yeah,
decision making. That's a pretty big advancement, and the whole kind of detection with hands and eyes and a kind of just getting you as like a person into that augmented reality space without having to like like every part of your body is kind of in the space as opposed to like having to navigate with controllers or something like that, which I feel like that's one of the other appeals where even though it might not be, even though like objectively it's the first step, the way they've marketed it and kind of given the user control over it will be a selling point because it makes the user feel like it's a huge advancement.
hmm. Yeah. It's still too expensive to make like an actual economic dent. Probably more in the tech world, it'll probably create waves, but I mean, it has already, and it will continue to create waves as it launches later next year. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, but That's the question. Like, uh, when when Facebook rebranded to Meta, I don't know when that was, some while ago. They, I guess that was sort of an indication that they believe that the next AI, the next revolution in tech would be this whole VR AR thing. Uh,
Yeah.
but I think so far it hasn't really delivered on that promise. I mean, it's still not very accessible. It's not very easy to see what VR is about. But and like now recently, especially recently, with like AI becoming so widespread, I think there are questions being posed about whether the metaverse is actually going to, you know, come be a be a thing in in such a meta world.
One of, I think, like one of my strong, I wouldn't say strong, like one of my opinions about like the whole thing behind the metaverse is like one of the main claims that mm, Meta is making is that you will kind of lose the need for having to do anything in real life in terms of like meetings or entertainment, because this metaverse will kind of be like your wake up part of the metaverse, go to sleep. Like that's one of the whole marketing ideas. It's like
Yeah,
just like safe from everything on the metaverse. But objectively, the world will probably never go into that sort of scenario, no matter how much it's marketed or like pushed for, because of how many necessities there are as human beings outside of it.
yeah, like socially and stuff, right? I
Yeah.
I mean, technologically, right now, the metaverse is nowhere near real life. So,
Not at all.
yeah, maybe it could have some applications in terms of business. Uh, Maybe it could, I don't know, reduce travel and things like that. But still, it's probably not going to. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to be like what Meta says it'll be. That seems a little far fetched. It also seems a little, not little, very like marketing speak. I doubt that
Yeah.
they also believe it to be like that.
Yeah, which kind of like in terms of marketing speak, I think one of the biggest like marketing selling points of the Vision Pro that I think everybody is like the whole recording in 3D family moments. Like it's just so silly trying to imagine a person wearing that headset and be like, okay, wait, guys, I have to record this.
Yeah, that's the weird part. Like, I guess it's a good idea considering you have a ton of sensors already, but socially thinking about people doing that is a little bit outreach. I mean, it's a little bit insane, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, like even in the promotional videos and all, like it looked so strange and out of place.
Yeah,
I was
some
just
crazy
sitting there and
uncanny
what.
valley type stuff.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I think everybody's go-to analogy was a Black Mirror, and how like it feels very like Black Mirror, Ready Player One kind of like.
Yeah,
It's like it's just it's being made out to seem as like some sort of heavenly advancement, but objectively it's just kind of questionable
yeah,
thing.
questionable. But you never know. For some reason, Apple. I feel like this will either be like a super hit or it'll be like the game console from like the late 90s.
I mean, I think it'll be a hit mostly because of like how loyal Apple has a fan base, especially here in the US. It is first releasing here
Yeah, yeah.
exclusively to the US, so they'll definitely like with that price tag, they will easily make a ton of you know revenue in the first. I don't know, first. I think it'll take half a year maybe. Their first quarter might be kind of like, but like by the half year kind of conference, it'll be like, look, we've made this much kind um of a profit or like a revenue out of it. So I honestly, they'll be like, yeah, we're not going to reduce the prices, and then they're probably just going to give like marginal minuscule updates and kind of call it like the next big thing. And that's how they kind of continue farming their, I don't know. It's like, I feel like it's kind of rude to say it was like cult following, like the
Yeah, but I
Apple
do agree
loyalist.
though. Uh, but the question is not whether the Apple loyalist will buy them. I mean, they will buy them. And it's because there are so many Apple loyalists, especially in the US, as you said. I feel it's very likely that it will become the most popular VR headset in the US. But the question is whether, that initial hype of the first, 4 to 6 months, the initial hype, once that dies down, what will happen to the whole thing, right? Like, will it have consistent sales? Will the app ecosystem be built out enough for them for it to be a compelling product? But yeah, I don't know. Can't say. It's a completely
Definitely,
new.
like,
It's a new this thing, right? I mean, even Facebook being such a big company, their whole VR thing is not really mainstream. Apple is a lot more mainstream, so we have
yeah,
to
Apple
see
is
what
much
happens.
better in terms of like making all their products mainstream.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing is that I guess like we know that Apple's definitely like they're going to make a lot of kind of selling in the market with the new VR headset. It's just they've done a very good job kind of convincing everybody, and I think me included, like they've done a good job convincing how like their app ecosystem and everything works
Mm.
on the Vision Pro, because like you have like the whole essentially seamless integration part where you don't need to have any prior Apple device or anything because this is your primary Apple device. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like I mean that's one of the upsides of like the whole Apple ecosystem is that their applications and their whole kind of cloud storage, everything is such a it's a seamless kind of process. The only issue with that is that it's only exclusive to Apple, so you don't really have that like people wanting to switch from an Android. Like any Android, they'll have to do like a lot of kind of backup or whatever if they want to swap. So it is going to be very popular amongst Apple loyalists or Apple consumers, but in order to draw a larger audience to the whole VR AR atmosphere, I think it's going to be a hard time for Apple to do that.
That's well something I wanted to ask you as well, because you're kind of in the midst of the Apple copium, I suppose. I mean, you're in Silicon Valley, and
Hmm.
I wanted to ask, like, how. I mean, being in India, no one really gives a shit about Apple here. At least not in the larger scheme of things. Of course, the higher income brackets have iPhones and Macs and stuff. But how common is it that people actually, have an iPhone and have a Mac and have AirPods and they have iCloud and Apple Music and everything Apple?
Um, One thing I can say for sure is that so living here, um, I think one of the funniest parts is like doing group projects in school, and everybody's like, okay, let me just make an iMessage group real quick, and then they're like, so then we go home. They're like, I said, okay, fine, I gave the number, and then the next day we go to school, and they're like, oh, I couldn't add you. Do you know, like, I think your number might be blocked. I'm like, oh no, I just have a Samsung phone. They're and then they kind of like look at you as if you sinned or something.
Yeah.
It's honestly, and then they kind of like reluctantly like, okay, I'll just make a regular text message group chat, and then it's this whole kind of. But yeah, I feel some people, especially here in Silicon Valley, I feel like there are, like, especially among like me, my friend group, and all, we have people are understanding of the fact that like outside of Apple's like hardware and products, a lot of their software is just way too monetized and paywalled, which is why everybody, almost everybody I know, doesn't use. No one uses Apple Music. No one uses like the Apple Health or whatever. Like it's just shelling out money to like for practically no reason when there's utterly viable free and popular worldwide options. So
Hmm. I think, but I still I don't really understand why iPhones are so popular because they're not cheap, right? They're still pretty expensive there. So
oh,
like,
they're not cheap at all. The I think the main popularity for iPhone is because of the way they're marketed and whatnot. They are kind of made to seem as luxury tech products.
but like in terms of affordability, how do kids have iPhones? Like,
I mean,
is the carrier contracts and stuff good, better than
yeah,
buying it
Apple
outright?
just kind of yeah, pretty much because Apple has like some of the the largest deals with Verizon, AT&T, all the big names. So you kind of like you know Android and all has pretty good. Like my phone is essentially free because the whole plan is that we are on basically postpaid plans or prepaid, either one. But like we are on a plan, and this phone comes with the basically if we use that plan for my SIM, this phone comes with it, and you pay basically the amount you have to pay per month for the phone, but it gets credited back to you within like a week. So essentially, the phone is free.
Oh, okay. But like, if you
But
switch carriers, you have to give the phone back, or is it just for
no,
a
no, no,
certain period of time?
no, no. You just I think you'll probably just have to pay out the phone or whatever,
Oh, okay.
but you don't have to like return anything.
Ah,
The whole
that's
idea is like it the I feel the whole idea of what I was trying to explain is that like carriers do offer some good deals to even Android, but it's just like the whole Apple ecosystem and the popularity of like iPhone, like the second kind of like the first iPhone got into the market, that kind of got Americanized, like
mm,
that is like premium products, luxury products, Apple being like this whole premium technology company and consistently having just so much of a, I guess, dedication towards marketing their products in such a unique way.
yeah.
Like the whole like one of the biggest things I don't think Samsung has no event like any event like this is just probably nowhere near
Well, they do have
the kind
events,
of
but no one cares about them
exactly. But the
except the
Apple
tech
events they
crowd.
just have that pull,
Yeah.
especially it's just because I guess they make the event seem like a festival, you know,
Hmm.
like the whole idea WWDC they invite all these people and then you have YouTube, Twitch lives or whatever, and you have these people kind of going, I went to this festival yesterday, I went to this yesterday, WWE, here's everything that happened, and it's working. So
Yeah, but that's a very recent development, though. I feel like Apple was quite hush hush about the campus and stuff. I mean, they at least I think only a few years back did they start actually inviting people out uh, to to the events. But
yeah,
yeah,
I think it's most
it is quite interesting. Something that really ticks me off is like I like Apple's products, okay? I don't have anything against Apple's products. I think they make really like some of their products are incredible, but something that gets me really angry is when people who know nothing about tech you know, just say Apple is the best without anything to back it up. Just it's so annoying. Like uh so my school is quite, I guess, high income, and everybody has iPhones, basically most people. And one of like we had an event or something, and someone said anyone who has an iPhone take photos, or anyone who has a good Android phone, like with a good Android camera. And someone said a good Android camera does not exist, which is like, oh, that got me so angry. It's
yeah, it's just like this whole like people kind of like the stereotype and
yeah,
whatnot
like
regarding
superiority
Android. And
complex.
yeah, essentially that's what I mean by Apple loyalists and cult
Yeah,
following. It's just like it, because of how Apple is so mm, luxurious and premium, like the way they present themselves, it kind of gives them that god complex of like, oh, I
yeah,
have the better phone. I'm part of the better brand and everything. It's just
yeah.
like objectively, if I wanted to compare phones, I would take the Samsung S22 over the iPhone 14 Pro.
Again, that's personal thing. Uh, but
I
like,
mean, I'm just
yeah,
saying
I
objectively
see,
in
I see
terms
what
of
you're saying as well. Like, I don't know, man. It's they have that, I guess, brand value that you don't really associate with any other brand, which is
yeah,
kind of annoying because I like Macs. The new Macs are really cool, and I like iPads as well. And I don't know. It feels a
yeah,
little
like
bit disingenuous to say that Apple only makes the best products in every what do you say, market.
category.
Which,
Yeah,
yeah, it doesn't even, that's not even like physically possible because the best product does not exist. Like, it's all based on preferences, right? Like, if you want good cameras and like good video specifically, perhaps you would go with the iPhone. But if you're looking at photos, the Pixel is probably better. Or in the laptop space, if you're looking at expansion, like the framework laptop is pretty cool. So
yeah, that's where like I feel like the the main Apple laptops and iPad. I feel like their iPad is probably one of the in terms of like I guess revolutionary or whatever. Like I
yeah,
wouldn't
they
say
don't have any
revolutionary, but
competition, the
yeah,
iPads.
the iPad is the completely unrivaled tablet.
Exactly.
The iPad is like Apple's only unrivaled thing for now. I mean, Vision Pro is going to be next year, but as of now, the iPad is Apple's only kind of like selling point for like we are number one in an industry kind type thing.
I mean, it depends on what you look at it. Yeah, I Apple will say they're the most bought phone in the US, which is like, yeah, I don't care. The US is like not that much of the world market.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. Have you heard of the framework laptop?
No, actually, I haven't.
It's like, it's awesome. I really want one. It's like
I can look it up right now.
it's like the antithesis of Apple's laptops. Like, everything is upgradable. Like, literally, even the ports, that they're like four slots. And if you
Hmm.
want, let's say if you want a USB C, you get like an expansion card. But if you don't, if you require some other like another port, you can just swap it out. It's really cool. Wait,
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now,
yeah, it's really
and
cool, man.
it's at a reasonable pricing as well for like the whole.
Yeah, there's something. I think they have a DIY version for like $700 or $800 something.
The
Where,
DIY is 850 here. Yeah.
okay, yeah. It's only in the US. It's and Europe, I believe. But
I'm just gonna like do a fall like a joke order right now, just looking at all this stuff.
I think
Oh,
the
okay, no.
Intel.
So yeah, so
It's
it
cool,
starts at 850.
but it's like pretty cool because every update it's like backwards compatible. So you can, if you have a 11th gen Intel framework, you can actually get the motherboard for the 13-inch one, and you can swap it out yourself, and it's awesome. It looks so cool.
Yeah, I can see. It looks pretty good. Let me see. Okay, storage. I'm just doing it at 1 terabyte. Basic power adapter. English keyboard. Let's see. Okay, customizable port expansion. Add additional expansions. So yeah, in terms of like, it's a lot. It's a very personal laptop. I can tell. Like you can craft it to your
Yeah,
needs. So
it's not
that's
cheap.
the.
I mean,
It's not cheap in the slightest.
but it'll last. I mean, the old first gen framework, I don't know when that launched, in like 2019 or 2020. I think
Hmm.
you can still use that, and you can you can upgrade whatever you want to upgrade. Like, that's the issue, right? With many things, you can, yeah, sure, you can upgrade the RAM and storage and stuff, but if it gets slow, you can't really do much about it. Here you can actually
Yeah,
just, I think you can get the motherboard for like $300 or something. main board.
It's yeah, it's something like that.
440. Okay, depends on which one you get. But
Like
yeah.
this might be like a hot take or whatever,
Hmm.
but people say, oh, I want a good performance laptop, I want a good graphics laptop for like, oh, you want to do editing or whatever. And this is as someone with experience with this product for the past couple of years, people overlook gaming laptops just because of the fact that they're called gaming laptops.
I
Like
feel like
one of
much of that is down to the fact that historically gaming laptops have been extremely thick and hot.
Yeah,
Not the
that's
case anymore.
that
But
is the not the case anymore. Exactly. That's what I was like. Like previously, like gaming laptops would probably be like about what 3 inches thick with like giant fans out the back. But I've been a user. I've used a gaming laptop now for the past 2 years. It's like my primary, you know, PC, and it's very convenient.
hmm,
And I can run for homework or for time pass when I, pull up Photoshop or Lightroom. I can spend hours and hours on video editing without having to worry about like my laptop overheating or without having to worry about performance issues. Or I can edit videos, right? I can
hmm,
compile videos. I have a ridiculous amount of storage as well. So it's very good for every single facet in terms of a laptop's functionality, but in terms of hardware as a general, it is still bulky. So if someone was looking for, if someone's main criteria was to look for a lightweight laptop, then I would agree that it's not the wave. But if the laptop is kind of like your primary PC and you aren't willing, if and you are willing to kind of not worry about weight and size, then a gaming laptop is definitely the wave.
yeah, I think I think this might be a hotter take. I think a Chromebook is enough for most people, but Chrome OS is a shitty piece of software.
That is exactly. So Chromebooks, objectively, the newer versions, they run very well hardware wise, but Chrome OS is just such a pain to deal with.
Like, I think most people, at least in that I've interacted with, I think most of them use Google Docs and YouTube and Google Chrome, and that's it. Everything is on the web. So that, I think that's what Chrome OS wanted to solve, but God, it sucks so much.
Yeah, Chrome OS is like, I guess, one of the it's like kind of the hot mess of the tech industry where like it's such a up and down. Some people are complimenting the simplicity of Chrome OS. They're like, okay, we love the fact that our favorite Google softwares that we find on the web are kind of consolidated into your OS and your operating system. But on the other hand, the operating system is just so badly built that it's kind of hard to use them. And so you eventually just end up using the website version.
Yeah. So I've never used Chrome OS, but
Oh, I had a Chromebook for 2 years before I had this gaming laptop. So
yeah, but like I feel like Chrome OS is, at least initially, their whole, the USP was the fact that they were cheap and you could do the stuff you needed on it. But the more expensive Chromebooks, the like $800 Chromebooks, at that point, like, why would you get
you just
a
get a
Chromebook?
regular
Just get a
laptop.
Windows laptop.
Yeah. You can do everything you can on an $800 laptop.
Yeah,
And it's basically then Google's just charging $800 for online software that's free to access.
yeah. It's, I don't know, man. It's a hot mess. It's like Google. It's like all of Google's products
Essentially, yeah.
except Google search.
And I feel like Google Pixel is definitely one of the. I mean, even though people do talk about it a lot, is definitely one of the most underrated phones here in this country.
I think the Google Pixel got big like recently, right? I mean, with Pixel 6 or Pixel 7.
Pixel 6 was the first major Google Pixel phone, yeah.
Yeah, that's. I like the older Pixels had a very different charm to it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
the newer Pixels, I guess, kind of. Google kind of dove into the whole premium camera and premium
Yeah.
camera, the whole that thing, and they did, and it's more affordable as well, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I really like the Pixel 7. I think it's an awesome phone.
Yeah, I mean, for $600, getting a Pixel 7 is honestly ridiculous in terms of like how other phones are priced.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the
Do you like
7A,
how
which
the
is the
new
affordable one.
Pixels look?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't mind that little band around the back
Yeah.
because you're going to people end up slapping a cover on anyways,
Hmm.
and that would typically end up being flush with the cover. So
Yeah, I think it looks awesome, but I know a lot of people that, like really don't like the camera bar. But I think
yeah,
it looks like super cyberpunk.
yeah, it looks pretty like clean.
It does,
And like
yeah.
if you're looking at the Pixel 7a, $450, and
Hmm.
you get 128 gigs, you get a ridiculously good camera, you get like specs. Let me just go
I
to the
feel like
specs
the
again.
7A is a little bit less appealing than the 7 because for just
The
like
7
a
is the
hundred.
affordable version.
No, 7A is 450, right? And the 7
Yeah,
is for 599.
yeah, which is
So for like
$150.
for $150 you get so much more. Like you get a much better camera. I think the processor is the same. You get a better display, you get better charging, that kind of stuff. But yeah, and the difference between the 7 and the 7 Pro is like $300, which is insane.
Yeah, I feel like that pricing might need to be toned a little bit down.
I
That's
think
for sure.
the probably the best A series phone was the Pixel 4a. I think that I don't know when that launched, but it was
The 6A is pretty good too.
the 6a was also pretty good, but it's still, I mean, the 4a was like 349. The 6a I think was 429 or something. But
Yeah, then again, prices have been kind of going up with inflation and all the
yeah, true.
demand stuff.
That
So
is also true. But that was the 4a was really good. Like it wasn't like built. It was a plastic build and stuff, and the display was like all right. But it was for the price, it was really nice.
yeah, and I like the kind of Pixel gets the first look at the new Android versions kind of app focus, because that they're being as greedy as Apple are in terms of their whole exclusivity thing,
Yeah,
which is like I feel like more brands should do that if they want a chance to compete.
yeah. I think that's Apple's trump card. They still, even after all these years, have by far the best software support of any manufacturer. Like no matter if your phone is supported, you get every phone on every update on time, and the updates are like for so long. So
Yeah,
it's, I mean, you can get it for like 5 years software updates, which is, I think Samsung is the closest in terms of updates, but yeah,
I still like as a Samsung phone owner, it's kind of shaky, but there are pretty frequent updates. And
yeah, yeah.
in
I
terms of
also have a
like, I
Samsung
guess,
phone now, by the way,
yeah, which one?
the A54.
Oh, nice.
I think
I
you
have
had the
the
A53 or 52, right?
no, I have the 32.
Oh, okay. Ah, so it's like two generations older.
Two gens, yeah.
But yeah, I think Pixels get the updates first, but I think Samsung's support is longer, from what I remember.
Yeah, I think so.
Samsung's displays are
Speaking of
so good.
updates, my phone just pulled up and said I have an update ready, which is
Wow.
pretty coincidental
Are you run? What version are you running right now?
for the Samsung
Yeah.
One UI 5.1.
Okay. I'm finding my software information. Uh, I have no idea where it is.
It's all the way down at the bottom of it goes about phone and then
Yeah. Okay. Even mine is One UI 5.1. This is Android
yeah,
13.
I don't think so.
Software
I think
information.
mine's Android 12.
Mine is 5.1 on Android 13.
Yeah, I think I need to get Android 13 right now. I
Oh,
should do that.
I like the newer versions of Android. I think like after 12 it got really good suddenly.
Yeah. Okay, I am on 13. I just haven't noticed any substantial. I think maybe it's just the whole one UI and all, not kind of.
Yeah, I don't think it changes that much. So
I'm looking forward to when Android has like the next kind of big change.
I feel like that won't happen for a while.
That's true.
I think they announced Android 14, right? I don't remember what they said would be at Android
They
14.
hinted at it, I'm sure.
They Google I/O was like some time back. Uh, so I don't know what is in Android 14. Okay,
I
no,
actually
it
don't know.
doesn't
It's
say.
in
It's all
beta,
like
right?
back end improvements,
Yeah.
system behavior changes, new features and APIs. Let's see new features. Okay, it's all kind of back end stuff. There's no real. I don't think Android 15. Yeah, it's like accessibility. Accessibility. Wow, I have no idea.
That's
Improved
just the
battery
way.
life. Notification flashes. Better support for large screens. Okay, it's that kind of stuff. It's not. It's not any huge. It's like
Yeah, just like quality of life type.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you seen the Pixel Fold?
I have. It looks interesting,
It
but
does.
I don't kind of find the appeal in the fold phones that much anymore.
Yeah.
Like they seemed cool at the start, but honestly, like why would you want that?
I suppose it's. I don't know. I think it's for a very specific kind of person. Don't know if I'm that person.
But yeah, it's just like what part of wanting your screen to fold is appealing, kind of.
I feel like the flippy phones at least make some sense. More than the
Yeah, the whole
folding
idea of
phones.
like having a folding phone back then was like having a flip phone where you have the keyboard isolated from the screen.
Yeah, but like
And
the Z Flip, right, where you basically a phone takes up less space in your pocket. That may make
yeah,
some more sense, but it's still, I don't know, dubious at best, in my opinion.
think logically people like logically folding phones will
Hmm?
be very like logically speaking folding phones is just going to be like I think it will not ever be like the mainstream phone.
Hmm. Yeah, it feels very unlikely. Unless it like suddenly gets a lot cheaper.
Yeah,
Yeah. Have you been seeing what's happening with Twitch?
I have been for like the past 3 years now.
I have no idea what is happening in that company.
Those guys are taking every step in the wrong direction.
It's kind of impressive how they're able to do that, honestly, without.
Yeah, every time they will see what the streamers are asking, they will look at the community, and they will actively take the decision that is not what they're asking for.
Exactly. Do you still stream?
Man, with the PS4, yeah, I could, but now like with the PC, because it's still kind of like it takes a toll, like especially playing Call of Duty and whatnot. So it takes a toll on the PC, and I will have major performance drops if I decided to stream simultaneously.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think one of the biggest kind of like mainstream things in streaming now is dual PC, where you basically use two PCs, one for streaming and one for your playing.
Yeah, you use like a capture card, right? For pass through.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's
You can just have like a your OBS on that one PC, and then you have you have like the Stream Deck from Elgato, and you set that all up. And yeah,
that's pretty extra. But I suppose
it
if it's your
is.
job, it does make sense.
Yeah, as when you're kind of like making a big profit out of it, then it's understandable.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like even with Twitch's discoverability and stuff, it's not the best.
That's what everyone says, right? You don't grow on Twitch, you grow on another platform and bring them over to Twitch.
Yeah, like if like going on Twitch's homepage right now,
Hmm.
it'll give you recommended channels for games you follow, and it's just the popular streamers.
Yeah.
Then you give live channels we think you like, and it's like every streamer has about 30K viewers plus.
Hmm.
And then you have pro players who are streaming, which is still like around 1,000 to 2,000 viewers. So there's no like element that is there on the Twitch homepage that is like no one's gonna scroll down 8 pages to just look for new streamers, you know? Like you want to have them in your face when you open the app. So
Yeah. Yeah, everyone has like thousands of viewers.
yeah, essentially.
Damn.
And then you have to have like, so the thing with Twitch is then you'll have to like build your following on social media across, and then after that you'll be able to drag people onto Twitch, be like, yo, I stream
Yeah.
6 hours a day, come watch, and then that's how you make money.
Do you use TikTok?
um it's like I only use it for the cat videos.
Ah, fair enough. What is the landscape like? I mean, we've not had TikTok
um
for like 4 years at this point.
I
Three
feel like
years.
the TikTok, it's everybody knows the easiest way to blow up on TikTok,
What?
which is like TikTok is definitely catering to the whole pretty privilege and whatnot. Like anybody that does nothing but is like good looking, by default they will blow up. Like that's just how it is. Like you'll have the
Oof.
most pointless of creators, right?
Yeah.
They'll have like 3.2 million followers. You go through their thing, their whole page, and it's just like three of the first two videos you see is like, oh, them staring into the sunlight doing nothing. Like it's just, and then you go all the way down, you'll be like, where did the appeal start? You see their first viral video is just something where them staring at the camera,
This sounds like a
and it's like
gripe.
a thirst trap. Yeah.
I, yeah, I don't know, man.
That way YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels is better because they actually like they promote more creative and
Yeah.
like content related things instead of like pushing people and stuff.
I don't like Instagram just as a company, so I don't use it very much. But
Yeah, that is valid.
exactly.
Meta is just Meta is too shady for a lot of things. So
Yeah. What are the kind? Do you like? How often? How much do you watch YouTube?
um I don't watch things that much. Like I don't spend hours. I don't even watch movies or TV that much. Like YouTube, I watched like a 10-minute video from this one guy, Jev, talking about like the state of Call of Duty and like the stuff I just follow in terms of like, my hobbies and interests. And then otherwise, I watch YouTube for guitar lessons, or like I look up songs I like and be like, okay, let me okay, that's what I do, and then I just kind of sit with. I just look it for like 5 minutes. I basically see what I need, and then I close YouTube and I hash everything out myself.
Ah, so you don't like watch it for leisure, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't.
Wow.
The only thing I actively watch kind of is like the esports leagues where I'm like actively supporting teams and like sports in general.
Hmm.
Esports and sports, like the because I actively support teams and I'm like watching games and involved in that.
So what are you doing nowadays?
Oh, I play music, a lot of
Oh,
it. I just sit with my guitar and noodle.
wow.
Yeah, just
That's
figuring
fun.
stuff out, learning songs by ear.
I was actually working on something. I think is almost done. I should release it by Sunday, ideally.
It's cool.
But
I'm basically just kind of like improving my guitar fundamentals and building blocks, and then just kind of like being able to navigate the neck from fret 1 to 14
hmm,
without having to like stare at it, be like, okay, which note is where or what sound is where.
yeah.
And basically just developing my relative pitch.
Hmm. I feel like most of my instrumental skill is just like I know enough of an instrument to record a little bit of it and then fix it up in Ableton or whatever, or GarageBand, whatever I decide to use. I don't really, I guess, spend. I don't know. I'm not that good as an instrumentist.
Yeah, so like I mean, that way I have the experience with I can play the drums, the piano, and the guitar. So I have experience playing instruments physically. So that kind of I have like that. I don't essentially like I don't I might not have the creative nature of like you know tweaking stuff or being like a producer,
Hmm.
but I have that instinct to just kind of play what I feel.
Yeah. I have to write my tabla exam in in like October or November.
You have to write an exam.
I mean, so there's a theory exam which I have to write, but there's also a practical. So I mean,
What
practical
even
is
is the
primarily it.
theory exam?
It's like you know, what kinds of items and it's like it's the same as like general Western music theory, but more Indianized, I suppose.
So it'll be like the tals and rags and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, that kind of thing. Like, what is a peshkar? Where would you use it? That kind of
Okay,
question.
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not so difficult, but
I feel like one of the things that kind like because I say if you recall, like I stopped going for piano lessons and stuff like that, right?
yeah.
I think the one of the main reasons I kind of stopped learning music as from like a music school or whatever is because of how like exams kind of they took away the passion for me because like it kind of turned it into a chore, right? As like I'm doing music to pass the exam. But once I stopped like taking those classes and I kind of just looked at music for what it meant to me, I was able to kind of appreciate music more, and I definitely felt like became a lot kind of more motivated and accepting of it as a good hobby because I didn't feel like I had to prepare for a big exam at the end. I was just doing this to unwind.
Yeah.
And I feel like one way that there's definitely like, especially because I decided to take guitar as a class as an elective this year, my senior year,
Hmm.
before I graduated. And my teacher, I mean, I'm glad I had him as a teacher because he was very kind of understanding of like music being extremely subjective for everyone and having a different appeal to everyone. And so what he did, there was no exams, there was no kind of deliverable in terms of like a grade score and whatnot, but there was that self incentivized push to kind of you'll be like, okay, your incentive is take a song you like and try to play it on the guitar, and the final was basically start learning a new song that you like and show us how much you've learned of it. That was essentially the final, and if as long as you performed you got an A, right?
Wow. That's
So
insane.
so he incentivized individuality and people kind of developing the interest, which is a very good way, I guess, to approach music.
Yeah, that is indeed. I saw this video where someone tried to solve the AP music theory paper, and it was kind of insane. I actually like music theory. I mean, like the idea of music theory. But
Yeah, the whole idea of it is pretty cool.
yeah, that is cool.
Being forced to kind of learn it solely for the examination part, that is not the fun part, but taking taking interest in it and kind of just learning it as a passion, as a hobby is fun.
Hmm.
Like I have this guitar with the software called Guitar Pro, right? And I just like when I find a song I like half the time I don't even look at YouTube. I just listen to the song and I just transcribe it. Like I
Yeah.
just transcribe the song and then I just play off the guitar profile because like having knowledge of being after playing three instruments, like I've developed some essentially like unchangeable. I don't have to learn more kind of music theory. I just have some ingrained in me, so I just apply it and it works.
Hmm. That is cool. Do you listen to like John Mayer? Wait, once.
Yeah, I know like I know how to play like four of his songs. Let me let me play Slow Dancing. That's the song I did for my final. But yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of like John Mayer because he's a really good guitarist and I can play a decent chunk of his songs.
I feel like most guitarists like John Mayer. At least from what I
Um,
remember.
most guitarists actually hate John Mayer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of like just they say like, oh, he's just kind of like a basic blues guitarist and all he does is not like just use blues scales, and they think he's like a basic and they don't know why he kind of
Yeah.
deserves all the praise that he gets. But if people actually look at him and his style of playing, he's very unique, like in terms of the fact that like no two album of his is like I think the same genre.
Hmm.
And his playing style is unique in the sense that it's it's very blues inspired,
Yeah.
but he implements that kind of blues inspiration across multiple different genres. So it's like blues rock, like a fusion, or a blues pop, or a blues country. Like he has all the variations,
Yeah.
and just in addition to that, like he's very good around the neck, and his like he uses multiple different voicings and jazz chords in his songs, which add to like I'd say the flavor of the music
Hmm.
that people like the guitarists seem to hate because they find it too odd and different.
Yeah. I suppose. I feel like a
But
lot of
I mean,
guitarists are like elitist.
they feel like I feel like shredders are some of the most elite pl- people like on the thing because they feel like, oh, we can play this many notes this fast and our hands move like that across the guitar,
Hmm.
and if you can't do that you're not a good guitarist, which is which is very missing the point because guitar is extremely subjective.
Hmm.
For me, I am definitely more of a blues jazz kind of guitarist. I like my like slow scales. I like bending. I like vibratos, and I like feeling the way around the different voicings. I use my thumb over the top, which is
Yeah.
people don't do that very commonly.
Yeah.
But I avoid bar chords because I can use my thumb over the top, and I play the bottom string with my thumb.
Hmm. Wow. Okay then.
Thank you all for listening, and we'll come back with another episode sometime soon.
Yeah. See you.